Hey guys, what's up? Darth Tabor here. Sorry for the not uploading videos for a long time, and actually the quality of this video, only due to the fact that I'm currently have two jobs right now. With these two jobs, I'm pretty much working 70 hours a week. So obviously I don't have a lot of time to do extra stuff. But I want to go ahead and talk about something that I myself have found out, and I'm gonna go ahead and give let's call it a different opinion, opposing opinion when it comes down to Ray. Now, a lot of people go ahead and say something like the fact that Ray is a Marysue, mainly because she's perfect, she knows how to fight, and she's so goddamn good with the Force and with mechanic stuff. She apparently knows more about the Millennium Falcon than Han does, and she knows more about lightsaber combat than Kylo Ren and stuff like that, and that's pretty much got a lot of people, let's call it, angry. If you actually take the time, and this is more on the fault of the movies and not on the actual material, because at the end of the day, the reason as to why people perceive Rey as a Marysue has to do more with the movie's fault rather than her as a character. You know, the movies don't technically tend to explain everything, mainly because they just want to go ahead and release so much stuff and so much material in such a short span of time. Because remember, movies are generally 2 hours, and you're going into a movie like Force Awakens with pretty much a 30-year time gap, and you have to introduce so much that you're not going to really explain everything. And that could have been handled better if J.J. Abrams actually took the time to actually write a good movie. But he was so focused on trying to get out a movie and pretty much making it a Force, a Star Wars A New Hope 2.0, that Rey got shafted and people thought that she was a Marysue. But if you actually look at the extended stuff, like the books, you will realize that she wasn't a Marysue at all. Now, does she have Marysue tendencies? Yes. But then again, that's pretty much all Star Wars related stuff. I mean, people always like to complain. One of the complaints that, oh, well, you know, what was it again? Rey knows how to fire a blaster better than stormtroopers, even though stormtroopers were trained to fire blasters at a military level. But the same thing happened in Force and The New Hope. I mean, Luke Skywalker wasn't trained, didn't have any military training, neither did Leia or Han did, but yet somehow they were taking down stormtroopers left and right. You know, so you can't really use that excuse when Luke, Leia, and Han were doing it in A New Hope. Another common criticism is, oh, well, you know, Rey's a Marysue as well because she knew how to fix the Millennium Falcon more than Han. Actually, that's not true at all. And even in the movie, they explain why Marysue, why Rey knew how to fix the Millennium Falcon more than Han. Rey knew about the recent upgrades that were made to the Millennium Falcon. So, since she knew about the recent upgrades the Millennium Falcon had, she was able to detect and fix the problems before Han did. It's like if you had a car for 30 years, then didn't have it for 5 years, and then when you got it back, the guy that had it and was inspecting it for 5 years knew where to fix it and how to fix it. It's not that he knows more than you, it's just that he's had it for the time that you didn't have it. Also, in the book, it explained, in the Force Awakens book, it explained, and Rey even said it, that every night she would go to all the ships and inspect it, so she can pretty much herself have knowledge on how to repair stuff. So that part of her knowing more on how to fix the Millennium Falcon than Han, no, that's completely debunked when you read it. Another one is, well, she knows how to fly, and she's never flown the Millennium Falcon before. If you read her solo book, where it's The Force Awakens, as told by Rey's perspective, you realize that Rey had a simulator on her ATT house, which she would every day use to practice flying. The simulator was that of an A-wing, but she still was gaining practice on how to fly. The thing was that it was the first time she ever flew the Millennium Falcon, but she already had experience flying starships based on the simulation. It's like you driving a Toyota and then going on and driving a pickup truck. You know, you still know how to drive, but if somebody asks you, have you ever driven that car? And you say no, that doesn't mean you don't know how to drive a car. It's just that you've never driven a Toyota before. Another example, and this is the one where I had to somewhat agree, is, oh, well, she knows how to use Jedi mind trick, despite the fact that she's never practiced the Force. Now, I'm going to use some EU content here, even though it's not canon anymore, but since Disney hasn't pretty much fully shown how the Force works, I'm still going to use it. Plus, Disney steals stuff from the EU, so in my opinion, it's valid. When it comes down to using the Force, it depends on how strong you are in the Force. There's a lot of people, when you read the EU, who were able to accomplish amazing things even without training. One of the examples is Darth Plagueis himself. If you read the Darth Plagueis book, he was so strong in the Force that when he was a child, he was able to have one of his friends commit suicide by just telling him, if you're such in a hurry to go down the stairs, why don't you just jump off of them? And he just went and jumped off. He never had any training before pretty much using Jedi mind trick to make his friend commit suicide. But it was his strength in the Force that allowed him to do that. Another example is Jaden Korr from the Jedi Academy video games and books. Due to his immense strength, he was able to build a lightsaber without any training. So when you look at how the Force works and how Force anomalies work and how strong people in the Force can be, you'll really see that Rey is not really a Marysue when it comes down to the Force. And the last criticism is, oh, she was able to beat Kylo Ren, despite the fact that she didn't know how to, she was never trained to use a lightsaber. Now, again, this, you also have to read the Star Wars Force Awakens book to get the answers. When Kylo Ren killed Han Solo, before he got shot by Chewie's blaster, he realized that he thought that by killing his father, he was going to be stronger, but he wasn't. In fact, he was weaker than he was before. That's because he was conflicted. If you realize how the Force works, the dark side is all about using anger, passion, fury, rage, in order to become strong. Since his emotions were conflicted, he wasn't able to fully use the dark side. Another thing was he was injured himself. So one of the reasons as to why he lost in the lightsaber duel with Rey wasn't because she was better than him. In fact, he commented in the book on how Rey's abilities were basic at best, and that she really didn't even have a form. You even see this you even see this in the movie when all she does is upward, sideways, and stabbing motions on the lightsaber. And even in the part where Kylo Ren is pressing down Rey on the lightsaber, and then she's having like an upward block where he says, "You need a teacher," blah, 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 blah. Before that, in the books, it's revealed that he said, "I could have killed you in an instant, but I didn't want to. I wanted to see what you were capable of. You need a teacher. I can teach you the ways of the Force." So he was going easy on her because he was trying to see what she was capable of, which he saw that although she was basic at best, she had the potential to be strong. It wasn't until Rey actually opened herself up to the Force that she was able to beat him. And the only reason as to why she was able to beat him was because A, he was injured, and B, he was going easy on her. And when you have a lightsaber bolt on your chest, especially on the fact that he was throwing out blood from his chest, prolonged battles are not going to really be good for you, especially when Kylo Ren himself is not fully trained in the dark side. If he was someone like Bane, Nihilus, Vader, Sidious, anyone else, he would have used that pain to actually fuel his dark side power. But he was conflicted and wasn't even fully trained. So when Rey got the upper hand, he was already way too exhausted and way too injured to keep up with him, to keep up with her. So when you see all those evidence, she's not that really much of a Marysue. Now, she does have Marysue tendencies, but when you look at it, it's not that much. And the reason as to why Rey seems like a Marysue is the movie. The movies have fault here on the reason as to why they couldn't even properly explain as to why she knew all this stuff or was this good. Anyway, this is Darth Saber signing off.